Hello there, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. My viewers and subscribers, I have news for you. You've probably heard this by now. The President of the United States has struck a deal in the Senate to restrict the eligibility for the $1,400 stimulus checks. This is going to leave millions of our fellow Americans without the $1,400 stimulus check. Now, you've probably heard this news by now, but in this video, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of this decision, why this happened, and I'll give you a sense of essentially the criticism that the president is already starting to get from within the Democratic Party. Pretty incredible what's going on. Let's take a look at some headlines. And like I said, I'll take you behind the scenes of all of this going on. Let's start with the headline right here on your screen from Politico. Biden strikes stimulus deal with Senate Democrats. Now, in case you guessed it, I'm referring to the moderate Senate Democrat Joe Manchin. The Democrats have a razor-thin majority in the Senate, and they cannot afford to lose anyone, including Senator Joe Manchin, who, by the way, wanted less unemployment benefits. But I would say that Joe Manchin is in large part responsible for some of the targeting of the $1,400 stimulus checks. Now, the good news is the disagreement over the unemployment benefits, the desire from conservative Democrats like Joe Manchin to have a $300 a week benefit instead of a $400 a week benefit is not going to derail the whole thing. So that is good news. However, I can assure you there are many unhappy people. Let's take a look at some headlines. Here's another headline on your screen from a different publication, The Week. And this reads, Joe Biden just yanked away stimulus checks from 17 million of our fellow Americans. And the Washington Post also reports that, and you can see the Washington Post headline on your screen right here, Biden limits eligibility for stimulus payments under pressure from moderate Senate Democrats. And the change comes as the Senate prepares to vote on the $1.9 trillion stimulus package at some point today. I expect this to pass the Senate sometime on Friday, but this is essentially, I believe, President Joe Biden trying to pacify centrists within his own party. I don't think this has a whole lot to do with the Republicans. This has to do more with conservative and centrist Democrats. So what's the bottom line, folks? So how is this phase out going to occur? President Biden, as you can see on your screen, signed off. And by the way, this is reporting from Politico. So you'll get a link to this article and all the articles that we reference in the description section below. We always do that. Biden signed off on moderate Democrats' demands to phase out checks more quickly. The $1,400 stimulus checks will now phase out completely at $80,000 per year for individuals. It was supposed to be $100,000 per year and $160,000 a year for joint filers. Remember, this was supposed to be $200,000 a year based on the guidelines in the first stimulus check and the second stimulus check. And the phase outs will start at $75,000 and $150,000, which is similar to the first and the second stimulus checks. But the good news is the bill will retain $400 a week in extra unemployment benefits. Now, it is not going to cut them down to $300 a week, which is what Senator Joe Manchin wanted. Now, Senator Joe Manchin was interviewed, and he said it's going to be a good package that's going to help an awful lot of people, and it's targeted. The main thing, it's targeted to get to people in need. Now, House Speaker Pelosi also responded and said, we're interested in seeing the total package when it comes over. So far, so good. So the Democrats, it seems, were essentially, open, willing, I should say, resigned to the idea that there would be some amendments in the Senate. And this right here is the major amendment in the Senate. Now, as you can imagine, people are not very happy. This is an article from Ryan Cooper on The Week. Let me show you this article. Whether true or not, now Biden is inarguably breaking his promise. Under pressure from Senate Democrats, he has reportedly agreed to cut down the formula for which stimulus checks will go out. And this is, as you can see, that people are very unhappy right now. And what this article suggests is this formula is horribly inaccurate because the income data the IRS uses is from the year before the pandemic, unless people have already filed their taxes, which, by the way, is the reason I've encouraged all our viewers and subscribers to file your 2020 taxes if your 2020 revenue was lower, which it was for most of us because 2020 impacted everyone. And also, if you have more dependents in 2020 relative to 2019, you'll get more money. So again, many people are unhappy. Let's get back to this article. Now, this is interesting. This change will save $12 billion. Now, this is interesting, folks. I want our viewers and subscribers to understand $12 billion as a ratio of $1.9 trillion is 0.006%. Okay? Now think about this for a second. It's like saving $6 when you're spending $1,000. Okay? That's the best analogy I can give you. It's just incredible that this would be the factor they use. So again, it's 0.006% of the entire $1.9 trillion stimulus package. In the meantime, Chuck Schumer on the floor of the Senate Majority Leader, blasted the Republicans for calling the American Rescue Plan, quote, a liberal wish list. This is what Schumer said, and you can see this on your screen from Politico. You'll get the references in the description section below. This is an American wish list. When people want checks to help them get out of the morass, that's not a liberal wish list. That's what the American people want. Let's shift gears and move over to the Washington Post. The Washington Post now reports that singles making between $100,000 and between $80,000 and $100,000, and couples earning between $100,000 to $200,000 would be excluded. In short, a single filer making more than $80,000 would be completely excluded, and couples making more than $160,000 would also be completely excluded. So pretty incredible turn of events, everyone. So folks, here's the bottom line with all of this. And approximately 12 million of our fellow Americans, we're talking adults, and 5 million fewer kids would get the stimulus payments under the new compromise between President Biden and the Senate. And these are preliminary estimates, and about 280 million Americans in total, that's 200 million adults and 80 million kids, would be eligible for the checks under the new structure. So definitely there have been some changes, and changes that are not going to make people happy. Now, in case you're wondering why is this happening, let's actually take a look at a brief clip, and I'll show you this segment on your screen. Let's take a look at a brief clip from Katie Tour, NBC. She asked Jake Sherman from Punchbowl News, why have Democrats decided on lowering the income threshold for the stimulus checks? And Jake Sherman says, because Joe Manchin runs the Senate, Katie, and that's the reality of today's environment. Pretty incredible comments. Let's listen to comments from Jake Sherman over at Punchbowl News.
Who will now be eligible. Basically, it's, again, narrowing the income allowed for those checks. Why did Senate Democrats decide to do this?
Because Joe Manchin runs the Senate, Katie, and that's the reality of today's government. That's the reality of the 50-50 barely majority that Chuck Schumer has. And any change, there was some clamoring, which we detailed at Punchbowl News yesterday, from the moderate wing of the Democratic Party to tighten up some of these stimulus payments. There was a separate push on unemployment insurance and lowering the weekly enhanced unemployment benefit from $400 to $300. That did not happen. But you listen, when you're in an environment when you have to pass bills on a one-party basis, because Republicans are not expected to support this bill in any large measure, although Lisa Murkowski has said she might support it, you have to, every vote counts a lot. So Joe Manchin is outside of the mainstream of where the Democratic Party on Capitol Hill is. I'm not saying he's outside of the Democratic mainstream, by and large. So when he says something, Democratic leaders need to pay attention to it and likely need to cater to it.
And so that's what's happening, everyone. I believe Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat, is the primary reason that we are seeing a change, if you will, to the stimulus threshold. Now, I can assure you that Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is very unhappy right now. And let's show you a tweet on your screen from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She says, conservative Democrats have fought so that the Biden administration sends fewer and less generous relief checks than the Trump administration did. Folks, this is going to be something that the Republicans seize on and say, hey, we did more for the American people. And basically, AOC is pointing fingers at Joe Manchin. That's basically what she's doing. And she said it's a move that makes little to no political or economic sense and targets an element of relief that is most tangibly felt by everyday people. In other words, if less people, AOC is saying if less people get the stimulus checks, then it's an economic impact and it's a tangible political impact as well. And she says it's an own goal. What she means to say is that the Democrats are sort of scoring a goal against themselves. Again, $12 billion impact, which is a negligible impact out of the massive $1.9 trillion stimulus, everyone. tells you that it's a 0.006% impact, $6 for every $1,000. And Jeff Stein from the Washington Post writes, let's check out what he wrote. He wrote, if anything, we should be more generous, not more stingy. It's also an insensitive compromise for the roughly 80% of Americans that live in urban areas, which are known for high costs of living. In other words, what Jeff Stein is saying is if you're living in New York or Los Angeles or Miami and you made, let's just say you made $80,300 based on your most recent tax returns, you would not get the $1,400 stimulus checks. But $80,300 does not go a long way in New York, in Miami, in Los Angeles, and that is the point that Jeff Stein is making. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this. Let me know what your thoughts are. Also, please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Please subscribe and please enable notifications. It helps out the YouTube algorithm. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to talking to you soon. Thanks. Bye.